Welcome to the Burning Pallets Podcast, sponsored by TechSource. Here's your host, Ryan Boland.
What's going on, guys? Ryan with the Burning Pallets Podcast, along with my co-host, Mike Hoy. It's been a long time since we've been on one of these.
Hey, everybody.
Actually, since the Long Beach show. February, March? It's been a while. We actually been in the process of moving buildings and setting up a new podcast studio. We're actually just moving it from one spot to the next within our compound that we have.
This is literally like 25 feet from your office now.
It's a lot closer. We can do a lot more with these. But we haven't been on a podcast as much lately. Been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of changes.
It's been busy.
Yes. A lot of DTF, as always. Kind of annoying. I'm tired of talking about DTF, which is what we'll talk about today.
We have to talk about DTF.
Stupid. I know we have to talk about it, and we have good info on today because we did a little testing, and we have heard out in the industry. I mean, unfortunately, I hate DTF, but I would rather DTF than screen print, just because I've screen printed for so long. But I understand everybody's both sides. But we did a little test of 120 shirts.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
That's what I don't understand about you. Like DTF is this dirty word with you, but yet, and you'll find out. I'll let you explain the scenario where you got roped into doing some shirts, and you've always screen printed them.
Yeah,
but yet you did the DTF. So when you say that you don't like DTF, I have trouble with that because that's what you did.
Just because of the DTF, I mean, you want to, being like TechSource, I mean, which is, we're in Burning Pallets Podcast right now, but TechSource, where you want to sell supplies, inks, and that's just the old way of doing things. Even with the pallet gel and print grip, I prefer to use the spray tack over that. It's just old school ways. People are stuck in their ways. But with the DTF, I hate it. I like it. I was able to do these shirts, sit in front of a TV, watch TV, and I was in my house in a room where I was comfortable instead of I'm not screen printing every day like these other guys are.
Well, let's rewind and tell them the exact scenario.
Okay, yeah. So, had a buddy every year. They have a softball tournament, and he's a close friend. So we have certain people here at TechSource, Burning Pallets. What do you want to call it? We will do a couple things for. I mean, we're not a screen printer. We're not a DTFer. We don't do those. We sell to suppliers or we sell to customers. I mean, that's our deal. But if you got a close friend who wants something, you're going to do it. So we had 120 shirts, a softball game they do every year. Typically, we'd screen print that. Any other shop out there would screen print 120 shirts. They're not going to take the time to DTF it. So we decided to do it. I didn't want to take the time in the afternoons to stay back and screen print. So let's just try the DTF. So it was one color. Oh, sorry, it doesn't matter about the colors.
But it was two, I think.
Two color, full front, 120 shirts,
and two different sizes. Of the design.
Kids, and adults, and then you had a couple of fat people in there.
Yeah,
they get the same. They get the same size.
The adult size. Yeah,
doesn't matter how big you are.
Now with DTF, we could have done like this monster, thing. So how big was the largest size?
4X.
It was 4X.
Yeah.
So you're convinced that the person wearing that will be alive by the time he gets the shirt. I say that kiddingly.
He might not be alive after the softball game, but that's a lot of
barbecue.
Anyways, 120 shirts. From your calculations, and I timed my heat pressing. I started off by pre-pressing each shirt to get the moisture out of it.
Yeah,
and then I got tired of doing that because it was about 5 to 10 seconds per time that I would pre-press, and then you go to heat press another 10 seconds. But I kind of stopped doing the pre-pressing. I probably should have kept doing it. I mean,
it's an event shirt, but as a practice, it's good to take the moisture out of those shirts.
Nonetheless, 120 shirts, and I don't know how long you calculated the printing to be, but I think it was a total of 6 to 8 hours. How long would it calculate to?
Gosh, now I'm going to have to calculate spot, and it's literally like behind this wall.
Yeah.
I had the notes, but let's calculate it this way. You get 2 designs every
minute and a half.
every 90 seconds, right? And so what's the math on that? I know you're good with the Apple calculator. So every minute and a half, you get 2 designs. So how long does it take to get 120? You can play along at home too, if you want to come up with it. But it seemed like it was like 180 minutes or
90 minutes.
90 minutes.
Yeah, because you have 120 prints divided by 2 because you get 2 per in a line.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
So an hour and a half to print 120, the DTF to print 120 logos.
Yeah, and full disclosure, that first print getting to the back of the dryer and then ending and starting up. So there's another 20 minutes in there. But if you're getting 90 seconds a linear foot off our 2 head that we sell.
So call it 2 hours total runtime from starting the printer on separate occasions, stopping the printer, the DTF printer on separate occasions. 2 hours to print off 120 logos on one stint of heat pressing. I didn't do it all in one night. I just did it periodically, and I did 1 hour of heat pressing. Another night I did 1 hour and 40 minutes. So you're at 2 hours and 40 minutes, and then another night I did another hour. So you're 3 hours and 40 minutes of heat pressing plus cutting. I had to cut the rolls of film and the logos.
Yeah.
So 340. So you're 340. You're 7 hours total. So anyways. We did this test on 120 shirts on the DTF, 7 hours worth of total runtime, heat pressing, post pressing, whatever you want to call it, for 120 shirts.
Yeah.
Taking that to screen printing, taking that to an auto, we clearly would have killed it in auto.
Yeah, for sure.
Took you an hour. But no mess, no fuss. I didn't have to go in the screen room, exposure room, which was cool, but
yeah, you didn't have to reclaim screens
Yeah.
and then code them. And then, of course, there would have been art separation involved, printing out the films. So I think that's where DTF, a lot of people that have gotten into it are deciding. I just got off the phone with a customer that I asked her about her experience. This is Cardinal. They're I think aren't they like south of Fayetteville?
I have no clue.
I think that's where we drove in North Carolina, and I asked her, "Have you paid for your DTF yet?" Because it's been a few months. She goes, "If I haven't, I'm very close, just in what the sheer volume she was buying." But she was stuck in a situation today where her rock dryer went down, and
Oh, I thought you were saying that the DTF dryer we sold her went down.
no, when she said my dryer went down, my heart sank. It's like Friday before holiday. And I'm like, okay, now I got to like diagnose this thing or drive to Vietnam.
Now I'm intrigued. So what do we have?
So her dryer went down.
I thought it was a problem we got to deal with. So when that was the issue, I was like,
I'm glad you
do
had
it.
the same, like, you get that.
Now I'm listening.
Yeah. So her rock dryer went down and they have like these 800 shirts to print. And they have a sleeve print as well, and they can't screen print any of them. So, 800 shirts you're going to do, even sleeve print, you're going to do on your auto because they have an auto. But since their dryer's down and they can't print, she called and said, "Hey, can I do the sleeve DTF? It's an American flag, one color, and can I then screen print?" So,
she'd already screen printed the fronts or something.
No, she wants to do the sleeves now so that when she does get her dryer back up,
All right.
she doesn't have to wait. And so the question is can we run that DTF transfer through the dryer? And so I did a test for her. I went out to our cap machine. I have those American flags, ironically, or coincidentally rather, and pressed it on there. And Daniel and I went down to the lower building. We fired up the dryer. When it got up to heat, ran it through, and actually used our donut probe. And it only got up to 180 degrees, I think, by folding the sleeve under. So it didn't damage And I also folded that flag in half to see if it would sort of melt and warp.
Yeah.
It came out flying colors, so we called her back. That actually delayed us on our podcast because I was dealing with that scenario.
So you can run a DTF through a dryer. It's not going to wrinkle it or crack it or anything of that nature. But you also tucked
I folded it under.
just like you do with the tag. Some of those tags who wrinkle up, you kind of tuck them in.
Yeah, normally you wouldn't want to run a transfer through the dryer. You'd want to do the screen print first. But the point is what she told me, and other customers have said, is now that they have this DTF, not only are they doing like these multicolor jobs that would have been big setups, but it just goes with the territory. You're balancing the weight of my auto guy is busy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and just knock this out to keep, and it just, I'm seeing that more and more.
It's a good backup.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's definitely,
it's its own backup employee that does it all. It's a true employee. Gets everything you need.
Yeah. And then you press.
Yeah.
Press and go.
They still suck, but whatever.
Yeah. Well,
so we did this test, 120 shirts, 7 hours total from turning the printer on, printing off the transfers, cutting them open, press them, pre-press, and then press them on. So 7 hours. When an auto would take maybe 2 hours max.
Yeah.
Max.
I mean, once the run was set up, you would have had 2 setups. So that would have been the thing. We had the Rugrat setup.
But that's an easy setup. You could set that up in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying that would have added to this. But, any auto is going to print 400 an hour once it's set up and going. So the run time, the setup time was going to be as long as the run time on something.
You could probably run it through within 2 hours on auto. On a manual, you're probably running every 30 seconds per shirt.
Yeah, and that's cleaning the screens and putting them in there and taping them up, all that.
So screen printing that whole, ideally, DTF should be anything less than, 72 shirts? 72 pieces?
I think everybody's finding out what that number is for them. I think a good starting point is maybe like 4 dozen, but more importantly, it's what is the job? Is it multicolor? Yeah. Is it something that would require?
Speaking of multicolor, we had one customer tell us that they did 180 shirts.
Yeah.
And it was 6 or 8 color job. And they're like, well, we don't want to screen print this. Let's run it through DTF. And he said that was a nightmare. He said they'll never do that many shirts again. And I don't think they didn't have the products or the equipment from us. But he said they didn't feel good on the shirt. It was like a big solid print. Their artist wasn't used to the DTF and how to do certain things to knock out colors to make it the shirt color. But he said it was a nightmare. It took them 4 or 5 days to do 180.
Yes.
Which shouldn't make sense. But still, they said it took them 4 or 5 days.
I wonder how the hell that I want to talk to those people. I want to.
Oh, you will, because they need help.
I want to help those people.
Well, we don't really want to because they didn't buy the stuff from us.
Well, they may end up if they bought like some.
No, I'm kidding.
Let me guess. They had a Mamaki, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
32-inch film. So 32-inch. I saw a really good write up that Jacob got through AI saying that although you have a wider roll of film, cool, you can get more prints per that roll, but it's taking longer for that film to be output because of the head has to go that much further.
And the footprint of the dryer that can do that size. Yeah. So, I think that at some point there's a,
give and take.
Yeah, there's a give and take. So, and Mamaki has had to take a few black eyes in our industry. Some of their color profiling, Jeremy at Rock Hill, it's Jeremy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he talked about how he's having trouble with certain colors, and I think maybe their updated model or something is better, but there's a lot of people that are trapped with that.
There's restrictions.
Cartridge system
on Mamaki. Yeah, they made it. They made a system that are trapping the people.
I mean, it's smart. It's sort of like if you buy a Canon printer, then you're stuck using their cartridges forever. and say what you want, but at least the machines that we sell, if you wanted to, you could put any ink you wanted in there, but you're kind of on your own at that point. Good luck with your color profile, I should say. But it does not lock you in like some of these systems that I would stay away from myself, is because then you're always dependent on them, and they got you by the balls.
Yeah. Some of the new DTFs, they've got the auto cleaning, the auto flushing. What's some of the new crap coming out with some of these?
Yeah, I think some of the stuff is just built in. I know, like the Quattro that we sell, it's got this recycling going on with.
Let me read some of these.
White at all time. But the truth is you can have stuff auto clean and all that, but the proof is when you go print your test bars, because sometimes a human has to get underneath there. But
if I'm going away on a vacation for 4 or 5 days and I don't have anyone to run my machine,
and
if it can do an auto clean,
that's good. Yeah,
then you can at least verify that. You might have to work to get the head cleaned out when you come back, but at least it did clean itself.
Well, I can get an auto feeder for my chickens when I'm gone, but it doesn't mean they're going to be alive when I get back. I mean, sometimes you want a human.
I'm pretty sure the chicken will stay alive.
Yeah.
What are some of these things?
Are chickens good for a few days?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
So are cats, kids, dogs. Leave them all. They can take care of themselves. What is some of the stuff I read? Beyond the auto flushing, automated flush system, advanced ink management. I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
It's a fancy word, right?
Yeah.
We trust us when we say we have an advanced ink management system on.
We do. It costs $4,000.
$4,000?
Talk about the spectrometer.
Oh yeah.
That is your advanced ink management system.
You don't know that I went through the process, right?
That's what you were doing all those prints back there, right?
Yeah. I failed.
So we wasted $4,000?
No,
okay.
It was just it's a very steep learning curve. I need some help.
What is a smart ink cartridge detection system?
It detects when you got to buy more ink, maybe.
That was pointless.
Yeah, all these advances.
There's no advances. I mean, it's just whatever.
They all have their features and benefits. Yeah. Now, the other day when we went in there, it was during this whole process of printing this job for you. Here I'm a guy that, like, I've flushed the head like one time because it's very leery of me, like pushing fluid through there. So I bring Ryan in, and let's be honest, how much just hands-on experience do you have with the DTF?
Zero. Yeah. I give myself 4 or 5% hands-on experience.
Yeah. So the white was looking like shit, which means we had to do something with the heads. I'm scratching my head thinking like, okay, we may have to change this head out. I'm blaming Adam, who left our company, because he's the guy you blame now.
Yep.
And the next thing I know, you ripped off all 4 of the dampers, and you just started flushing the shit out of these heads. And I'm like, okay, they're delaminated for sure now.
It was simple. I mean, I feel like people make it out to DTF to be out more than what it is on the inside, the guts of this machine, but it's really all very simple pieces.
Well,
expensive if you do the one wrong thing, but yeah, I mean, it was easy taking the dampeners off, shove the solution that we had down it. And I was even videoing with one hand, flushing with the other.
Yeah.
And that was my first time ever ripping it off. But just don't be scared of it. Rip it apart and go.
Well, see, here's what I learned from that is, like, I know enough because I'm doing the installs and all this stuff. I know enough to be afraid of doing certain things or just leery.
Blind, yeah.
And then you just come in, and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, if he delaminates this head, I can say, Ryan, it fucked it all up. And,
What does that mean, delaminating a head?
Well, it means that the head, the internal, all those little nozzles, that it just comes apart.
You got the 4 channels per head.
Yeah.
There's nozzles within each channel.
Yes. So the I-3200, it's got 3,200 holes
Yeah.
divided by 4, which is 800. And then the long skinny channel, you would have 400 on each side. So 400 little tiny nozzles that just spray multiple variable dot sizes, right?
Okay, well, where's the other 1,600 holes at?
Well, for
got
800 per channel.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, you
so
said
CMYK.
You said 400.
Well, 400 per single channel on one side. So if you look at the I-3200 head, then you've got 4 little stripes on it.
Yep.
And then on the left side and right side, you got 400, 400, 400, 400, all the way up to 3,200. In fact, for this podcast, when we were talking about, you've already seen it, but I've thrown up some videos to illustrate this. I think that'll help on the visuals there.
I mean, I get the 4 stripes, 800 per,
Yeah.
but that's 3,200. Where are you getting the extra 4?
Well, what I'm saying is I'm breaking each one down into 800 per bar. Like the Cyan's got 800,
Yeah.
but 400 are on the left side of the bar and 400 are on the right side of the bar. So that's 800 on the single Cyan bar.
Which is when you're flushing it, the string of the solution is like angled down that way.
Yeah, they
So
shoot
4
out from the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I got a good video on.
Yeah. So
When I
you
was
saw it.
yeah.
You saw it shooting out there.
Yeah. So again, I have zero experience with the DTF getting in, ripping it apart. I mean, you got to be careful, but
Well, you did that when we had our initial install. Like the guy was like, we're going to have to replace this white head because we got this demo unit that had been sitting for a while. And so they knew the white head was going to have to be replaced. So we took the opportunity to go through all the motions when you're trying to save a head per se. And then when he was going to switch the head out, Ryan's like, "Can I do it?" And he's just all in there. So, I do give you credit for
what
that.
if you try? I mean, Coca-Cola fixes everything, doesn't it? Like a can of Coke.
Yeah.
When you're sick, drink a can of Coke. Or if you're there's some kind of something out there that you're supposed to drink Coke, right?
There's, I don't.
There's something, I can't remember what it is. But anyways, we should shove Coca-Cola down this. I mean, I feel like you could put different things through a head and, right? Other than solution. If it's already screwed up and you can't get it to come back,
Oh yeah.
try
yeah.
different crap. And if it actually works, then go with it.
Yeah. There's that one point where, and that's what we did. We were cooking.
We put 701 through it.
We put 701, which is
Easy way 701.
yeah, which is like a degreaser. That ruined the head for sure, I'm sure at that point. But we had tried like heated ammonia. We were putting all kinds of things through there.
Mountain Dew, Mellow Yellow,
Yeah.
Surge.
We should have used Sundrop, since we were in North Carolina. Of course, Alan would have cringed, at the loss of such a fine.
Clorox, ammonia. What else is bad that we can shove through it?
Well, remember, these are, like I said, that delamination, that can happen if you put that solvent through there and you don't flush it all the way out. It just sits
So my
on there.
original question was, what is delaminating? What is laminated on this head? Or is it?
I think it just means it comes apart. They glued that shit together in there, apparently.
Okay.
But to, I haven't seen the breakdown of the inside of the head, but I know if it's delaminated, it's ruined, and that can happen with solvent sitting in there versus the base ink that's going through there now.
Side note: we're in this room, so I can't tell who's on the other side. Like who's walked through, who's looking, who's watching us.
I know
You got our window blocked. I don't know what's going on. I see no monitor. I don't know what's going on here.
but do you like the?
I don't know. I'm falling asleep. It's dark. I don't know what it looks like on the other side. I need a monitor. I need some more lights. We need bigger seating, more chairs.
This is a nice, cozy.
If I want to go to sleep.
No, this is nice. Well, that's I can't help you stayed up knowing it was going to be Friday. We're here on a nice 3-day weekend coming up. So
Yep.
that'll be nice. I'll probably put this up.
It'd be pretty good to talk about. Daniel had his meeting this morning, and it'd be good for you to explain, because you would know best, how Daniel was talking about with it becoming Memorial Day coming up. He was talking about that's not Veterans Day. There's a separate holiday, and I feel like there's a lot of people. Most people know, but it's good to explain. Yeah, you would be able to explain it really well of why you want to do those, like when it's Veterans Day, say Happy Veterans Day, or talk to a veteran. You get where I'm going with.
Yeah, I think people conflate a Memorial Day with wanting to thank a veteran, and I don't think they do it on purpose, but Memorial Day is really to honor those who died serving their country, and that is specifically for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. But and Daniel knows too, as a veteran, not a lot of some do, but there's a lot of veterans that we feel awkward when someone, like, thanks for your service. And it's just one of those things, it's one of those things that you deal with as a veteran that almost like makes you hide incognito.
I bring this up. I should have said this. I bring this up because you are a veteran. You were in all that stuff. Daniel was, my dad was. So that's why I pinpointed you to explain it, because you're in this room.
Yeah. So we're honoring the dead Memorial weekend. For me, I grew up in Indiana. So this was always like the Indy 500, because that was the big thing that you never missed.
Coca-Cola 600.
I guess down in the South, you all got the Coca-Cola 600. Talladega. No. But I don't know if there's probably going to be some NASCAR.
I'm sure, yeah.
Race, but Indy 500 is the largest spectacle in racing. Always has been. That's been the pride of Indiana. Out of all the bad shit that came out of Indiana, Jim Jones.
They're still in the NBA playoffs. The Pacers are.
Yeah, they're underdogs, right? Who are they playing now? They knocked off
Minnesota.
Okay, that's going to be a tough one.
So, but anyways, so that meeting that we had this morning, it was pretty good that he brought that up to kind of remind everybody.
Yeah, and we have our Friday meetings, and what always happens is, I don't know when they are. Are they right at 8:30 or are they 8:45?
8:45 usually.
Okay, so I don't have a time clock. I actually started cleaning my office today because Robert made a underhanded comment about how I keep my office messy.
Yeah.
And so after it simmered in the crock pot for 24 hours, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should clean this shit up. And then I hear Daniel talking out there. And so then you always see me creep up through the aisles and then I just appear. Yeah. One of these days I'm going to get called out for that.
8:45.
8:45. And there's donuts.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's always good. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. It's always some kind of little, in these podcasts or classes, there's always some kind of nugget that we drop. And so there's starting to be some nuggets that are dropped in some of those Friday meetings.
Yeah, exactly. And in our Friday meetings are basically
translating, which to you guys with the screen printing shops should also have the Friday meetings. And Fridays, because people are a little more attentive, they're excited. It's a weekend coming up. They got a couple of days off. You don't want to have a Monday morning meeting. People come in pissed off or hungover.
Yeah,
like I got to go back to work. So Wednesday, everybody's in the middle of the week and just trying to get through. But I'd assume Friday meetings work well, and everybody in your shop, your screen printing supply, you should always have a Friday meeting, get together, talk about random things, at least for 15 minutes.
Yeah, but see, here's the secret. The secret is, see, Daniel, it's the freaking donuts. Like when you bring donuts, and then if they actually eat a donut, like during the meeting, that they get that sugar, that's a good warm feeling. So everyone that would normally dread going to some sort of gathering where it's not a bitch out session, but like, hey, we need to do better here. It's not, this is not a session to pat us all on the back, right? This is to talk about things to make us better as a whole.
What you want to do is just constantly well, never mind.
You were going to say something bad.
I was going to say just constantly just drill them into the ground.
Yeah, drill them.
Bring them up a little bit and then just drill them back into the ground.
Keep them. Yeah, keep them. keep them where they need to be. No, but the sugar thing is, he's playing with psychology here.
You always said that during our classes, like M&Ms or Nutty Buddies. We had chocolate in the classes. We still do, and you always claimed that it would spike their interest or just their levels.
Well, I noticed that one time you had actually bought somebody bought M&Ms, and those went like really quick in the morning, like bam, bam, bam. But everyone got that sugar high, and then they were all happy to see us. So their first emotional reaction to us as teachers were, these guys are pretty good, as they're just filling their face. Well, see, that's what Daniel's doing with the sugar donuts. I guarantee you.
Or it's just like, hey, here's some breakfast. Thanks, guys. We're gonna have this meeting.
It's disguised as that, but he knows that the sugar. No. It gets everybody the dopamine rush.
If he had a microphone right now, we would ask him.
Yeah, I mean, he could. Yeah, look, he just.
Okay.
They don't watch the podcast. They won't.
Yeah, they do.
No, but he has set a precedent that now, it's expected. It's expected. He's going to have to buy donuts out of his pocket for the rest of his tenure here every Friday, because the very day he doesn't, or the day he's off on Friday, people are going to, they're going to be upset.
Then I'll have to start bringing in donuts, and then
you don't want to start that. You don't want to start that shit.
I'll bring in carrots and ranch.
They will hate you. They will hate you. But
carrots, ranch, energy drinks, you'll be good to go.
I'll put that on next year's calendar. I have, that calendar, the infamous TechSource calendar.
Yeah, our guys like it. I mean, even salesmen who have come and gone know that the calendars are a really good. Just customers enjoy them and like them. So, and every year around July, we embark on our 12-month calendar for the following year, and it's a lot. It's not your standard stupid ass go to this 4over.com and buy a calendar and you have your one logo on it. We do a lot of work. We put specials. We try and put information into these calendars that will help customers. I mean, even though they see the same thing for the whole month, it's like those donuts.
Yeah.
It's in your face every single time for the whole month, and you finally are like, all right, well, let me just indulge.
And you can write notes. It's like a desk calendar. But here's the thing: is I never had to mess with the calendar. We lost an employee. It wasn't tragedy. He left us. He's dead to us now.
Yeah.
But one of the things that he did do was he did that calendar, and this is how difficult that calendar is that the guy who did the calendar before him, which was Scott, when he found out Adam was leaving and that I was going to be doing the calendar, I can look it up if I have to. He texted me to offer his condolences.
Really?
He actually did.
Well, I'm also a pain in the ass. So me and him worked together. Yeah. And I had to make so many changes.
Well, why is that? What is that about you that you?
Well, I mean, back then, I was pre-Adam, so I was 7, 8 years ago. Maybe I was a little more micromanaging-ish style. And then,
but even Adam thought like you would make last-minute changes. You'd say, do this, and he does it. And then you come in and then you're like, but can you do this? Or I want to move that. Yeah. Like once you see it.
But no, we're getting off topic, but because no one here probably cares about the calendars now they're made.
Everybody loves calendar.
If there's nudity on them,
I can do that.
but
I could do the old, you got the numbers and you draw it. What is that called? Like those little kids books
the maze,
where you go from 1 to 2 and 3 and as you draw around it.
Mm-mm.
There's a name for it, please. Somebody.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
okay.
The guy previous to Adam doing the calendars, I sat in his office for a full day and we would do things. I'd say, do this, this, and this. Adam knew how I like things, so he could just go in and create it. I would just change a few things, but for the most part, he was just running and gunning free.
But how are you going to handle me?
I'm letting you do the whole thing how you want to do it, and then I'll tweak you afterwards.
You'll art direct me after?
I mean,
but what if you totally hate the direction I'm going?
Well, you should definitely show me before you do the whole. You should do 1 month and let me see it.
But that I can't.
At least do one so that I can see where you're going and headed towards to say yes or no.
Okay. All right. Let's set the precedent right now.
You already done
because it's on video and you can't back out. We'll roll the tape. My idea is this, and I've already started the framework, is every month the calendar looks completely different.
Okay.
Different, I'm going to give you an example. One of them is going to look like I just hand drew it with a pencil and hand drew all the numbers, the whole kit and caboodle, so that every month they just see this because
something different.
Yeah, because of this is in our business. The reason why people get hooked on screen printing is you always see something different.
Yeah.
If you always get the same thing over and over.
So when you play back this footage, I'm saying that, yes, that sounds pretty good. There's only two things. We need larger squares for some people up north who complain about not being able to put more information inside those dates. And you got to have a notes section. So Martin wants bigger squares. Jesse wants a notes section.
Yeah.
I don't care how you do it, what's going on, what kind of information we put in there, but we got to have at least half of the year decently sized squares.
Well, they're all going to be.
Everyone has notes. A note section.
Yeah, they're going to have. The squares can only be so big.
Oh yeah.
So I've maximized those. Unless you want to make a bigger calendar.
No.
Yeah.
Only if you have bigger things to nudity it up with.
Yeah, but
bigger calendars for more nudity.
But I thought the note would look cool, like on 1 month as almost like a Post-it note, like just a graphic of a Post-it note. Just like I said, different things. Little Where's Waldo things on there, like little characters that like are peeking out. I just thought we should make it fun.
Are you talking about that old paperclip in Microsoft Word document that would pop up with the eyeballs?
Yeah. Yeah, Clippy. Is that who he was?
What was that?
Is it Clippy, the Microsoft guy?
Is that 80 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, we got not a new thing out, but it's called Unimix by Union.
Is this a sponsor? Are you doing?
No, I'm just talking about ink because we're off topic. We're talking about calendars.
Okay.
And so trying to get back on track.
I didn't know we had a track.
We never do, but there's a Unimix 15 color series, low cure mixing system, ready for use system.
So when you say low cure, what are we talking?
I didn't look up the specs.
But are you talking like 270, 280? Probably.
I would say between 270 and 280.
So this is the first time hearing about this. You said it's called Unimix?
Yeah, UNI mix.
Okay, so it's by Union.
So it's part of that UPLC 1071 white series.
Oh, okay.
So Union 1071, it's the UPLC.
Yeah.
Union low cure. UPLC.
Ultra low cure something.
No. Anyways, just talking about it. It's coming out on our emails. Just getting us back on track with inks.
Now, is this ink made for like the Victory series? Is it made for like poly or will this? So this is a poly mixing or a poly blend.
Similar to 1071, you can kind of use it across the board, almost every garment. Depends on how much money you want to waste.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want to print it on a 50/50 because you can get something cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there could be some blends you have in there, but this isn't for 100% cotton is I'm gathering because it doesn't have the mat down or fiber.
No.
Okay. I got you. Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Let's talk ink.
Yeah.
The stink about ink.
But anyways, I think we're about out of topics and things. It's 1 o'clock. I don't know how long we've gone for. Does Daniel know where the timing is?
Yeah, I mean the timing's on there.
Does he know? Does he know what
we could have told him like knock 3 times on the wall when we hit 30 minutes or something. Oh, we definitely hit 30.
That would be a good idea if we get a special guest come in and someone knock on the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we got a special guest. Who's coming in today?
Mr. Rogers.
That would actually be nice for our customer service warehouse guys. If it's just you and I talking about stuff, because we can't always have vendors come in, and when we do, well, now that we're in this room, we're allowed to. We should be able to have more podcasts with more special guests because of where our setting is. But that would be a good cool idea is if we have a random person within TechSource, an employee, just knock on the door. All right, who's our special guest today? We don't know who it's going to be, and we just start talking BS.
Well, and we
Spencer would be great.
Well, I don't know. We have some FW employees around here.
NSFW?
Yeah, that acronym, not safe for work.
They're all safe for work. OSHA's listening.
No, I'm just saying, no, not safe for work. Like there's websites that are NSFW, not safe for work, right?
Because of the
content.
Language. I mean, we still go off a little bit.
Yeah, no, porn sites are, jokes are NSFW, not safe for work. Don't we have some employees that maybe
this is Burning Pallets podcast, so they're not technically a part of this work.
Yeah,
this is completely separate from work.
All
so
right.
Technically, we do what we want.
All right, let's have Spence on then.
Anyways, the knock, getting someone random in here from inside.
Yeah, and everybody let us know.
I think random people would be fine coming in here because there's no one looking on the outside. It's just us in here BSing.
Yeah, so you don't feel like you're being
watched and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and we also have the ability to live stream this, so we may would that be safe to do a live stream of our podcast?
Sure, and I want the character chore as
or we did the cartoons
to come back on some of these podcasts. That was pretty cool.
I
know it's a lot of work.
That took a lot of work, so you'll have to pick out a particular one, or we'll do one specific for the cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to dust those cartoons off. And now the trend is we'd have to pay for it. But have you seen all the videos that are babies versions of people on the internet? You're not surfing social media. That's a huge trend. Like a baby Joe Rogan podcast where it looks like Joe Rogan, but he's a baby. You can baby yourself now.
Well, there's filters.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. It's AI.
All right. Thanks for joining our podcast. If you're listening, if not, you will be. We're going to get back onto this hot and heavy. No sponsors, just us BSing. Technically, we don't need a sponsor because we're working inside TechSource, but
yeah, they're sort of sponsoring us, I guess.
Yeah, but get back into grooving things. We've had we actually have a ton of podcasts out. I mean, it's probably 80 or so, or 60.
I lost count.
We got a lot.
There's a ton. A lot of great guests in Long Beach.
A ton of vendors. I mean, we get a mix of people at Long Beach at the trade shows, but we're in the new place, new room, podcast. We'll have more vendors on, Avient, certain vendors, Saudi, and we'll get this thing back up and running. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for getting it going.
Take care, everybody.
See you guys.
Peace out.